Herzlich willkommen zu UNZENSIERT, der Gesprächsreihe beim Filmfest Hamburg mit freundlicher Unterstützung der Zeitstiftung. Heute Abend ist mit mir der brasilianische Regisseur Affonso Uchoa zu Gast. Welcome, Mr. Uchoa. Great to have you here. Er lebt in Brasilien und hat bereits einige Filme gedreht, die auch auf internationalen Festivals Preise gewonnen haben. Und sein aktueller Film Arábia ist für den Kritikerpreis des Filmfestes nominiert und erzählt die Geschichte eines einfachen Arbeiters auf einem Roadtrip durch Brasilien, der nach Jobs sucht und auch sehr viele Jobs ausübt. Die Muttersprache von Herrn Uchoa ist Portugiesisch. Wie auch ich sprechen das ja viele andere nicht, deswegen werden wir uns heute auf Englisch unterhalten. Mr. Uchoa, I just told the audience about your new movie and its hero. It's a simple man, working class as you called it, and he's on a trip through contemporary Brazil on the search of work constantly, and he's facing a lot of challenges on his way. So maybe you may tell us about your work as a filmmaker in Brazil. I heard you spent 3 years on making this movie and you only had a budget of 100,000 euros, which is not very much, so you probably faced some challenges too?
Yeah, this film begins with my previous film. It's called The Hidden Tiger. It was also screened here in Hamburg. It's in the film that begins the two key factors from Arábia. It begins my relationship with Aristides, the main actor from Arábia, and with João Dumas, with my co-director and my friend. João has helped me in Hidden Tiger with the script and the editing process and accompanied me between the whole process. And Aristides is a guy that lives in the same neighborhood that I live, that I knew him before and saw him in the street. He asked me to get in my previous movie and reveals to be an excellent actor, a pure talent to acting and to be in the movies. And we start to work together in this previous movie. And during the process, especially during the editing process, and me and João talked that we want to make a film together. We're friends. We share some obsessions, some interests in cinema, in politics and reality. And we start to write. I think that we can work together. And we wrote a script. We sent to a governmental fund in Brazil. And we are waiting the answer for this fund. During this, we're working on Hidden Tiger. And when the result came out, we're in the middle of the process and we agreed that don't make this movie. And when the result came out, I think that is 2001, 2011, 2012, and we started and continuing to involve in the Hidden Tiger process. We only ended Hidden Tiger in 2013 to 14, and then we came back to our script. I say, let's go, let's make this movie, and we read it again the script, and our mind changed. For us,
like
the script, it was not a script that we want to do. It's not a story that we want to tell, and the story has not the thing in common that we were facing Hidden Tiger experience. We are very involved with these people from my city, from Contagem. We are very involved with the marginalized universities in Brazil. We are very, very involved with the poor people lives in Brazil. When we want to make a script about this, not about the script that we wrote before, and so we start to thinking about what can we do right now. And so we got a very irresponsible idea to let's make a short before we make this feature. Let's
like
make
a
short movie together. And we start to make this short like an adaptation from Arábia, a short story from Dubliners from James Joyce.
Yes.
We want to set this adaptation, this short, in Ouro Preto, in the city of João. That was the same location that our previous screen. One thing we must kept when we kept the location because there is something in common with Ouro Preto. It's a historical city, and so for us it were important to ask the historical standards in Brazil. What's important? What the story can mark?
Yeah.
So we want to ask this. We want to getting against this, and so we kept this, and we start to work in this short story, and we decided to set the story in the proletarian village. That is the same Villa Operaria, the neighborhood where Arábia were recording. There's a neighborhood that was created to workers that from the factory in front of a factory for the workers that of the factory living. It's a very intimate atmosphere. For me, when I discovered this neighborhood, was shocking to see how life was just submissive for the work. The people are not allowed to do anything more than work. They work in workhouse. It's not a kind of life that I figure as a good life. And say we decided, oh, come on, let's set the story in this neighborhood. Let's set our Arabian, our Dubliners story here in this neighborhood. And we start to write the story. We start to write the script. Suddenly, as close we're in the factory begins to turn as a key factor for our story. And suddenly the whole thing about the work came from as a fundamental thing for us in our film.
So you really felt that you need to make this a longer movie and you have to make it about work and the poor working class.
Yeah, we changed our plans and the short turns into a future and the work becomes a key factor as well. And we wrote a character, a worker. And we immediately recorded our intention to make a film with Aristides and say, well, this is the guy to make this character. But when we started to record this story, Aristides was arrested in 2014. 2014. And so we started to record our story with the thing that we have.
So sorry to interrupt you, but your main character got arrested during filming?
Yeah. No, he was arrested twice during the film, but I
Why is that?
I can't get there. But the first arresting is when we were beginning the process, and he was arrested. He write a character to him, but he was not there. And so let's start the movie. And when when he was released, we record with him.
So he was not arrested because he was filming with you, but because of another topic you're not talking about. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that seems to be quite difficult. And as he came back, I mean, you spent a lot of time on the road with him as well. You were traveling through a whole state.
Yeah.
And I think it's as big as France nearly. So just to get the relation of the size of it, that must be pretty difficult work to be on the road all the time with the whole camera crew.
Yeah, it was very difficult, but we only could do this movie because of the collaboration of our crew, of our friends. Mainly our crew are made by friends, the people that are very involved with this project, that love the idea of the movie, that love everything that we want to tell, and so the people are engaged with us because we don't have a lot of money. The film got a lot of locations, a lot of text, and our process were quite confusing or quite disturbing for a crew or for a production staff. We changed the plans a lot. We wrote the script during the set. We constantly wrote by the morning where we will record in the afternoon or recorded by night. We will record it by morning.
Why? Were you just adapting to the situations or were you chaotic?
For a lot of reasons, but we got our script got a huge voiceover. Mm-hmm. And we exchanged our plans a lot during the recording process because sometimes we want some things to be only in only the words. And sometimes we got no, this will be image, and it was like a work in progress. We haven't made this before. We don't have a background or an experience to do that. When we will experiment, seeing how the things will work. And sometimes we give up. Oh, this producer, please. We said to you that this will own the situation, this passage of this passage, this moment of the character's life will be only in words. When we change our mind, we will record this. And so the people became crazy to find location, to find a place to record, to find an actor to do this. And we record almost 8 hours of
Wow.
images of materials, and the first script we got almost 300 pages, and we recorded a lot of it, and we got I don't know, 3 or 4 more works and more cities from the character, more moments of his life, and we drain off everything in the editing process.
So this is your part of the story, but currently in Brazil there's a big discussion about censorship as well, if it comes to cultural situations. Will you ever be affected by that?
No, no. I think that the relation, the stronger relation that the film has with the passage from Brazil's story, from contemporary Brazilian right now, it's the thing that in Brazil we call end of the CLT. CLT is the name from our worker law. We got rules to regularize of the worker and the worker situation, and that was totally rewrote in this year. And rewrote it in the sense of a flexibilization, of to doing the things more easy to the businessmen, to the employers, to the companies, and more harder to the workers. And this is a process that we are facing in Brazil during the last 10 years, but explodes after the impeach, after the coup that we are facing from Michel Temer in the presidency. This is a thing that we can be related with Arabic, but I think that's more important not to relate with a simple fact in Brazil. I think that the film has a lot of things in common with the process of Brazil during the 90s. The process of, not only Brazil, I think that in the whole world, a process of a lot of things in common. I think that it's the effects of neoliberalism, where the lives and the work, I think this is where the life are just subjugated by the economic circumstances, you know. Yeah. And I think that this has a clear, immediate effect as a disintegration of the working class. Yeah. And in Brazil right now, there is something in common with the censorship process. We got for me it's ridiculous. We got a major from our biggest city, São Paulo. The major of the city is a very right-handed guy. It's a very, very right-sided guy. He won the election in the first term with almost 60% of the votes, and he was a very, very rich man. He's a clearly rich man. If you saw him, you say, oh, it's a millionaire. He looks like a millionaire. And he won the election.
It's a trend in politics right now.
And he sell him an election as a worker. And the workers elect a millionaire who sell him as a worker. That's the image of confusion in Brazil right now. Yeah. And this guy is one of the most enthusiastic about this movement of censorship that we are facing now in Brazil, with the evangelical and religious movements, aside with the so-called liberal Brazilian movement that are trying to close art exhibitions.
Was that a part of your decision to have workers, like real workers, apart from your actors in the movie as well? You're featuring a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that for us it's important to create the things from the reality. You know, the reality is a very important source for creative for us, because the reality, everything comes from the reality. What we saw, what we heard, what we want to tell, the stories we want to tell, and the stories that we want to show to the people, to make the people thinking about it, comes from the reality. And we got real actors, officially actors, but the main characters are, all of them are non-professional actors. Aristides and Murilo, that was the plays Andre, the guy, the young guy that was shown in the beginning of the film. And for us it's important because we are not searching for perfection in the execution of the character, of the interpretation. We are searching for the vitality of a presence of a body in a screen, you know.
And you really can see the difference, because you can see that he is a real worker, that he is working hard while the film.
Yeah, but this is important. We want to write a story for Aristides, but it's in this fact we can see the difference between Arabi and Hidden Tiger. And Hidden Tiger, Aristides plays himself in the picture. In Arabi, he got a different name. This is an important factor to understand the limits between documentary and fiction. The liberty to change the things' names in fiction is the key factor. It's because of that we can call things fiction sometimes. And that is still as another name. But at the same time, we want to write a character that could be him in his real life. You know, we want to write a character that was not Aristides, but could be. Because we will bring to the movie this closeness from Aristides, from this reality. And I think that it will be on the screen. That is on the screen. That is on the screen. He knows these works. He knows this reality. He knows this social condition. He doesn't want to Ipatinga. He doesn't work in a textile factory, but he worked in a factory. He did works like that. He knows how to do that in these works, and he got intimate. He's close of this friend of this universe.
As you said earlier, the film has an overvoice of him, so it's his story told through his words, kind of. It's a diary somebody else finds, and which tells us about his journey through the state and all the jobs he was doing. In your other movie, you let young musicians tell their story through their words. So how important is it to you? You already said it a little bit, but to actually give people a voice.
Yeah, for us it was very important to discover the limit between our imagination and the strength from the reality. We make movies, and I make movies to see the things in a different way, in a different glance of the world. To make movies just to reinforce the way of the things are going, for me, doesn't make no sense. And it's important to give voice to the people who doesn't have voice, because it's important to hear what they can say. It's important to hear their words. It's important to know a little bit more better his universe and his imagination aside. I think that it's one of this problem of our world is the separation. Is the separation. Art is a thing for the middle class, for the higher classes people, and the poor only have to work in this life, only have to go by, only have to doesn't leave any marks, any memory of his passing by here. For me, it's unfair, and I think it's important to make a movie against this, you know. And we wanted in this movie to discover how to manage to bring this voice here. And we, of course, we got a voiceover, but we got a music as well. And the music, it's important to say, the music in Brazil, in poor countries, in countries that were not so universalized, the access to university, to the words, to the high-level culture, let's say, music is a way to tell the story. Music is a way to
I really had the feeling,
get a mark.
just because the audience probably didn't saw your movie already, but it starts with a country song, which was very touching, and it was a bit weird too, because it's set in Brazil. It's set in Brazil, and then you see this young boy going by bike, and you have this old American country song, and it gets a sudden, very universal feeling through that. So as if the story could be playing in any country you choose.
Yeah. At the first time, I must say that we are almost losing this song because of the deal with the record company. It's a pity, but the Americans are very tough sometimes, and they're asking us amount of money that are almost impossible to pay. But we want to keep the folk song because the sensation in the beginning two sensations at the beginning is important for us. One sensation, it's a false clue. we get in the story just knowing exactly about what the story is and figuring out another kind of movie that Arábia at the end will show it. It just sounds a very beautiful young guy with a very beautiful landscape, with a very touching song, and sounds to be like a teenage movie. And the people say, well, this film will be for this path. No, it won't be for this path, but it's good that the people imagine and feel that we were going for this path to change more harder when we turn the stories into another story. And the other thing that it's good for us, it's important for us, is to exchange the cultures. Because Tanzania, the Texas, has a lot of things in common with Minas Gerais, you know. Texas is like Contagem as well. Mm-hmm. I think that it's, in Brazil, the hard work culture, the great landscapes, the tripping as the meaning of life, it's a thing that passes by in the United States, but also in Brazil. And so it's a way to tell to the audience, oh, our story is universal and Tanzania is Brazilian as well.
Ah. And for me, it was very touching as well. You just talked about the great landscapes in Brazil and, you know, this amazing nature. And then in the beginning, there were very intimate moments with one of your main characters as well. But underneath, like underlining it, there was always the sound of the factory. So you hear this, and it seems like, you know, there's a far beast sitting there somewhere, something dangerous. Was that intentional?
Yes, of course there will, because it's a thing that we saw when we came in this neighborhood. The sound of the factory, it's like a hell. It's like a hell to live in a place when the factory is inside your kitchen, every time. And we try to portray this in the sound design. And our sound designer is a very, very good guy, Pedro Durães. It's a genius, and creates the sound factory mixing different sounds. It's not the real sound of the factory. He made a composition, like a musical composition. And when we recorded in the factory, in the real factory that we saw in the end, it's important to say that we were only allowed to record in this factory in the last year of our process. We record the most part of the film without the factory, because we are not allowed to enter this factory. And of course, the factory where we recorded isn't the factory we saw from the house of André. And the sound was unbelievable. And when we entered this factory, it's perfect. It's strangely perfect, because it's a hell to work here. We saw the workers burned with the herb burners, and they don't have any equipment and something for safety. They don't have anything. The factory doesn't give a fuck for them. And so it's perfect, because that's what we want to portray. It's indignity to work in these conditions, you know.
How did the workers react on your presence?
They worked very well. The workers, but the people from the administration, the managers don't like it a lot. They say, oh, what these guys are doing here? What they are recording? They say, no, it's a fiction film. It's a fiction film. We're just recording a character. Come on, relax. We're just recording a character. And they didn't saw the film already. But the workers like it a lot. Exchange experience with us, are mocking the character when they were obliged to use. They say, oh, use this. Yeah, we use, but sometimes, not all the time.
I really liked as well how your main character develops through writing about his work and his jobs, but as well he finds new words concerning his big love, Anna. And actually what was really touching for me was that he was able to write his true feelings down, but not able to actually tell her. And I was wondering why you choose this very key moment for a love story apart. I mean, you could have chosen him to be a more political message.
Yeah, because for us it's a thing that we wanted. It's like portray the path for Cristiano like a Woody Guthrie song. And the Woody Guthrie songs, it's very, very common to see the mixing of love and work. And so for us, it was important to portray this path from Cristiano as a, let's say, like a Bildungsroman of a conscience, you know? But at the same time, we don't want to make like a pamphlet. And the consciousness, what generates a conscience? The life. And the life, it's having friends, is to having fun, is to being sad, and also have love. And we try to portray Anna as a major influence to his conscience, but for love. Not for doctrine or a pamphlet or something like that. Love can teach us to improve our conscience as well. We try to portray with the relationship with Anna.
I think Araby really shows like life can be changing every moment, even if you really don't expect it, but as well not. So what is it that you want, your audience to feel like after they saw the movie?
Well, it's a very difficult question. I think that life can be changing. For us, it's a statement for us. Since the Hidden Tiger, we are talking about that are oppressive, life that are oppressive. But if we tell the people that all of these peoples, all of these lives are just oppressive, we will not reiterating, telling again, reinforcing the oppression. There's no exit. There's nothing more about it. And for us, there is more about it. The oppression is the same in every place in Arabi. He changed a lot of places. He changed a lot of works. He changed a lot of friends. But the oppression is the same in every place. But the life can be different. And life is not only oppression. It's having friends. It's tripping. It's about to have joy and do something. To have a work. To have a love. And so, if we build a film just to say to people there are no reason to all come, it's not the same. I don't know if I want to do this movie, but at the same time, if I made a movie just to say that life is wonderful in every place that we go, we are facing beautiful experiences. Oh, it's a lie. The word sucks. The word's a shit. If for the most part of the people, the word's cruel. The word's unfair. The word's it's even worse than we can imagine for people like Cristiano and from the most part of Brazil. And so it's important to try to encounter, to discover this thin line between to portray the oppression and at the same time portray a life as a most important thing.
Will you show the film in the poor parts of Brazil as well?
Yeah, we show in Brazil. Yeah, we just shown the film in Brazil once. The film just premiered in Brasilia Film Festival, and the competition of Brasilia Film Festival has won the competition. It's a very good thing. It just once, but we are.
But will you bring it to the people? I mean, this was a film
festival.
Yeah,
we want to, but it's a very tough challenge in Brazil, because we got a real abyss between the small films, just like Arabi is a small film, and the television film. The television films got some kind of 1.5 million viewers, and the films like Arabi mainly got only 5,000 or 10,000 viewers. It's a very, very, very great difference. Just Kleber Mendonça with Aquarius can be in between with 400,000 viewers in Brazil. It's a very, very tough to try to discover, try to reach the audience. And for us, it's a real challenge. How to manage for we can get to the workers, for the common people. And we are now planning our distribution, that we are going in 2 lanes. We are putting the film in the theaters, in commercial theaters, and also we'll do special screenings in the factories, in the social movements, and schools, and other places for the people that usually don't go to the cinema. But for us, it's important that they can see the film.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean,
yeah, if you can see for free, yeah, come on, let's see it. important is the people see the film.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very great. I hope you will succeed in doing that.
I hope the thing's going out, but it's not that so easy in Brazil because we just don't have money to do that when we go do by ourselves. And we need some kind of a personal effort to do this.
Well, fingers crossed. I liked your movie a lot. It was really great seeing it. I hope people in Germany will think the same and go to the cinemas the next days to see your movie here on the Filmfest. Thank you very much for being here, and all my best to you.
Thank you.